Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, but it is also Doomsday if you're a Miami Heat fan. And Corey is here dressed in all black because he is mourning the end of an NBA season and the gentleman's sweep of his Miami Heat. We will dive into that in depth. That's Brandon Marshall's favorite word, depth. We'll dive into that a little bit later. I'm actually Nicole Moss. I got Brandon Marshall with me. I got Corey in the cut, a.k.a. a sad Miami Heat fan. I got Woo in the West. We got Mander Legend. We got BC in the back. The whole squad is here. We're going to kick things off with news of the day. This is kind of where we just hit really quick things that brought to our attention, or that caught our attention rather, and then we're gonna dive into the Denver Nuggets winning their first championship in franchise history. Brandon, what is your news of the day? I know you got something cooking over there.
Well, before we do that, it seems like you're enjoying Corey's pain right now.
I am, because you know what? I remember Corey sat in that seat and said it was going to be a short subway ride home for my New York Knicks.
Those were my exact words.
And he was throwing jabs my way constantly during that Knicks and Heat series. But one of my favorite sayings is, "It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun."
Yeah. Do this for me, Ash.
What?
50 Cent. The Game. Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas.
Who's pettiest? It's me.
Yeah, Ashley Nicole Moss.
I like to call myself Petty LaBelle.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so but what's the difference between me and you, right? Because I'm like
you're
messy.
messy. I'm not.
Is there a difference between messy and petty?
I'm structurally petty. You know what I mean? You're just messy. You kind of just fire off the dome. Sometimes it's not even relevant, necessary, or even appreciated. Me, I like to sit on my ammunition.
Right.
You saw how I sat on it from that Heat Knicks series, and I just let it fester and I let it cook. And I just waited for the exact moment to get my lick back. That's the type of.
There you go. You're petty.
My dad made me read The Art of War a few times, and one of my favorite sayings in The Art of War is, "If you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by."
Wow.
Which basically means sometimes you have to practice patience for things to come full circle.
Oh, man.
They came full circle today, and Corey's not gonna get it.
Hey, you know,
easy
sometimes
from me.
let me tell you.
He's not.
Let me give you
He's
news
not.
today. All right, let me do this.
It hurts.
Let me do this, right? If you guys, so Brandon Marshall, Ashley Nicole Moss, Corey in the cut, Woo Out West, BC in the back. This is Paper Route presented by I Am Athlete on YouTube. Also, if you're listening, we're on SiriusXM Faction Talk Channel 103. Okay, so Ashley, this is a real confession. All right, because I know you're very strategic and intentional. And I follow you, of course, on social media. I find your posts to be very thought-provoking.
My stories?
Yeah, because I feel like when you post, especially the little quotes, you're speaking to somebody.
No.
Yeah. So when I'm seeing you, I'm like,
no.
My way, I'm like, damn, is she speaking to me?
No.
If the people who ride with me, I ride with them.
You know what they say? Only a hit dog hollers. No, but for me, I think that's a common misconception about social media in general. When you post something, people automatically assume you're throwing shots. But for me, I post things that I can relate to just overall, whether it's in my current season or if it's just in my philosophy of the things that I think. It doesn't always mean it's directed at somebody. There are things that don't necessarily apply to me, but at one point they did, or I can just relate to what's being said.
I trust you.
One thing about me is, I'll tell you this. One thing about me, if I'm gonna throw a shot, you're gonna know it's a shot.
You gonna throw an ad on it?
I don't do subliminals. I do headshots. You know what I mean?
They got silences.
Oh,
yeah, I don't do silencers.
That's what she is.
I'm like John Wick. I just walk up to you straight headshot, bang, so you know it was me. You know what I mean?
Like Denzel.
I'm half Sicilian. That's some real gangster stuff. You don't shoot behind the back. You shoot in the face.
Okay. Here we go. Listen, so I got some news of the day, and I'm really enjoying this new segment that we introduced, where we just jump around and talk about news. Like Ashley said, we'll obviously discuss the biggest news of the day, and that's the Denver Nuggets bringing home their first championship, which is a big deal. It's huge. There's a lot to talk about there. But I'll get to there, and I'll hit that by talking about this post that I saw yesterday. This is the betting one, Corey. There's a dude that hit a parlay.
Crazy futures parlay.
Explain that, futures parlay.
Yeah, so you want me to go? I'll dive into it.
Go ahead.
What this guy did was basically choose 3 teams across actually different sports to win championships this year. Well, actually, it was the Argentina national team that he picked to win the World Cup. That was in like December of last year. So this futures bet had to have gone back. We're talking December, maybe even November. So probably about 6 to 7 months ago. So he chose. I could
have done this.
Yeah. So he chose Argentina to win the World Cup. He chose the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and then he chose the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship.
And think about this. Think about this. He put down $100.
Damn.
He brought in $82,000. Throw that back up there, please. I don't know if that's the only graphic that we had, right? So like Corey said, over a year ago, he bet
about 6 months, about half a year.
But that's still the start of the NBA season. You made that bet.
Yes, over a year ago, right?
You know what? That's a good point. It probably was at the beginning.
A year,
probably been right before the
10
World
months,
Cup.
9 months, it doesn't matter. The dude picked Argentina to win the World Cup. What are the chances of that happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Think about that. When's the last time Argentina won the World Cup? All right. Okay, I know they got Messi, but Messi's damn near 50.
Well,
and everybody excited about everybody's excited about Messi's coming. Miami. Well, we're getting him outside of his prime. Okay, y'all, he's your GOAT. He's not my GOAT. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
since 1986, they haven't won the World Cup.
So that's a big deal. Before we debate the Messi thing and
I'm not going to debate it. I just find it egregious that you just said that. But okay, go ahead.
Is Messi in his prime?
The fact that you called him 50.
It's like Tom Brady. I still respect him. He won a championship at 43, 44.
Yeah.
And retired.
Continue.
Okay. So Argentina, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, think about that. The chances of the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Yes, they have Patrick Mahomes. Yes, they have Andy Reid. Yes, they're really good, but it's hard.
Still hard to predict.
And then you pick the Denver Nuggets. I think it was this kid and Fat Joe were the only people to pick the Denver Nuggets before the season started.
Yeah.
I picked the Denver Nuggets.
Before the season
No, you
started,
did
though?
not.
At the start of the season?
Yeah, at the start.
To win it?
Because I didn't think about this either.
Shut
this
up.
Probably was
If he did this, you are really the Astradamus.
I had the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors going to the Western Conference Finals, and I had the Denver Nuggets coming out of the West from the very beginning.
Wait, hold on. Now that you say that, I thought I remember you saying that you thought the Warriors were going to go
I said the Warriors and the Denver Nuggets were going to go to the Western Conference Finals, but I had the Nuggets coming out of the West. My Eastern Conference prediction was all off. I had Boston coming out.
You were. I mean, that wasn't bad. That was more predictable than the Nuggets.
I said a month into the season. I'm somebody who watched the Denver Nuggets play. Like, I wasn't somebody who just started watching them in the playoffs. I've been watching them. I knew from the beginning that team. I overestimated the Warriors because that was a disaster. But the Denver Nuggets, if you had watched them this entire season, what they did in the finals was zero surprise.
Right,
like zero
crazy.
surprise.
And really what's surprising though is this, and that's one of my newses of the day. Okay, Argentina, Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Nuggets. He put down $100 and he brought in $82,000. That's insane. That's crazy. Salute to him. I'll be interested to see what he does with his big winnings and his earnings. So that's my news of the day. I just saw that to be just wild.
Yeah. Now I got something for you guys. DeAndre Hopkins set to visit the Patriots on Thursday. What are your thoughts on that?
The first thing that come to mind is the question they asked Bill Belichick. I don't know if y'all saw this, but I guess a reporter at minicamp. Everybody's kind of in these mandatory minicamp or some part of OTAs in the NFL right now. And so Bill Belichick was scheduled to speak, Corey, and they asked him about, like, when is DeAndre Hopkins scheduled to come? And his response was, I'm no travel agent. Like, how dope is Bill Belichick? Right. Like, he keep giving us these one-liners and these zingers. Like, that was cool. DeAndre Hopkins to the Patriots, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm
with you too.
I don't like it. You know, I mean, for me, I'll take the Titans over the Patriots. Yeah. You got Buffalo there.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
I would do that for sure.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
But this is what I wanted to ask you though, Brandon, because if I remember correctly, didn't DeAndre Hopkins leave the Houston Texans on bad terms with Bill O'Brien? Because my thought is, like, how how's that going to even work?
Well, Bill O'Brien ain't there no more, is he?
No, Bill O'Brien's the offensive coordinator.
Is he?
Yes, for the New England Patriots. So that's why I'm like, how is that even going to work?
It works because it's business, right? And it's like,
I mean, you hope to be able to put that aside.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were talking about the Texans. My bad. I was going to say he's not the head coach anymore.
No. Yeah, but he's on the Patriots. Go ahead, Brandon.
So what happened with DeAndre Hopkins and Bill O'Brien? That's a good point, Corey. Bill O'Brien basically like he didn't call him a thug. He just said he was a distraction, and he just didn't like how DeAndre Hopkins went about his business.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it wasn't like a big story, but he definitely challenged DeAndre Hopkins' character and his approach to the game. And so there was a lot of bad blood there, but when there's, we're talking about millions of dollars on the line, and definitely be in this position, the Patriots want him. Right. So he's coming in with the leverage, like, okay, give me my money, and then also, we got to talk and we got to make sure we good. And you're going to look at each other and be like, you good? I'm good.
I just don't think DeAndre Hopkins is the Patriots way type of player. We always hear that term and how they almost borderline brainwash their players into buying into that philosophy in the Patriots way and standing in line and putting the Patriots before everything else and kind of being quote unquote good soldiers. And I just don't see DeAndre Hopkins being that. I just feel like he's too much of a free spirit to be that, to do that. Right. I think he needs to go someplace where he can be himself and also still be an intricate part of an offense and a team's success. And I just don't think that the Patriots are that team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I will say this, when we think about the Patriot way, does that still exist? Right? Because Tom Brady's no longer there. And so we're seeing Bill Belichick and the Patriots start to get outside the box and outside the Patriots way and do things differently. The way they spent in free agency 3 years ago, that was unprecedented. How they're approaching players now is totally different. Why? Because they don't have Tom Brady anymore. So when you think about DeAndre Hopkins, it's almost like they have to go get a guy like this. There's only a few guys on the market, free agents, veteran free agents, that can come in and impact your team in a major way. So they have to look at it. In the past, they didn't have to do it. They could go out there with the, a lot of, I'm not even going to name any names, but they can go out there with the players that they had because they had Tom Brady to kind of cover up a lot. So, this will be interesting to see what happens with DeAndre Hopkins. The DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes are still open. There's probably 3 or 4 real teams that are interested in him. We'll see where his travel agent takes him next.
Yeah. Ashley, you got some more news for us?
Yeah. So I recently saw that Travis Scott and John McEnroe. You guys know who John McEnroe is, right? Okay. Yeah. Cool. I don't know. So it's a hit or miss with you sometimes.
I just nodded my head because in researching I saw, he was in the show today. So that's why I know him.
So you had to research John McEnroe?
I did.
Wow. Yo,
I'm confessing.
Corey is very young, right?
I actually didn't know who he was.
Corey's 27. There's honestly no excuse for this. You did not know who the bad boy of tennis was?
I did not.
I will say I only know
tennis,
John from movies. Like, I never was actively watching his matches.
I was too young to watch him play tennis. But John McEnroe.
I didn't even know he was associated with tennis.
This is crazy. Anybody, you guys in the chat, please jump in. Do you guys know who we're talking about? Right, like I feel like he's one of those guys where if you didn't even watch him play, you still knew about him because we talk about him every year in sports. Like his aggression, his anger, him breaking rackets and doing all that stuff. Like they replay this stuff all the time.
Okay,
is that baffling to you, Ashley?
Whatever.
Maybe I saw the highlights, saw the guy, just didn't, couldn't put a face with a name. That's typically what happens with me. I can't put a face with a name.
Okay, moving on. Anyway, Travis Scott and John McEnroe are bringing back the Nike Mac Attack. Do you know what those are?
I saw a picture of the shoes. They're nice though. They are nice.
Yeah, which is really cool. It's a little nostalgia. It's one of the oldest silhouettes within the Nike brand. So it's really cool how things have come full circle and things like that. Really, I'm just so baffled by the fact that
isn't that the movie he was in? Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory was one of them. Yeah,
Blades of Glory was.
But I'm just so baffled. Corey didn't know who John McEnroe was. Yeah, but that was pretty cool. Brandon, I saw one of your news of the day about a professor who spent 100 days underwater. What's that?
Oh, you saw that?
Aquaman? What was that
about?
Well,
first off, I feel like that was the story I wanted to talk about. I wish we had the pictures.
I just teed you up.
No, the Travis Scott's like you didn't see. Do we have a picture?
Oh yeah, the Nike Mac attacks.
Do we have that, Corey, or no?
I don't think we do, but BC in the booth, he normally works his magic.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I just thought the whole concept, the whole drop was dope. Everything Travis Scott is touching right now is interesting. Why are you looking like that?
So many people in the chat didn't know who John McEnroe was.
Okay, so I'm not by myself then.
Wow.
That's great.
We might need to, like Corey said, I'm not by myself. We need to do a poll. I just thought that was interesting. Like, how does that happen? Can anybody fill me in here? There was a guy who broke the record, Guinness Book of World Record. Did I say that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did.
Where he literally stayed underwater for 100 days.
Yeah.
So when I opened up the story, there wasn't a lot of information there, and I didn't have the time, or I didn't really care to go deeper. But the things that came to mind was, okay, well, his skin, like, is it like how do you last there? So was he inside of something underwater?
Yeah, he was inside like an actual, like, I don't know, how do you consider a vessel, or it was just like
probably
an
like
underwater,
a submarine type thing.
That's not interesting to me then.
Yeah.
But this is no news. This should have made news of the
Let's
day.
get into the real news that people want to talk about, Corey.
I want to do that.
Let's get into the real story, the real meat.
Well, no, honestly,
of this dinner
there's
of meat and potatoes.
There's honestly two more pieces of news that were pretty funny that I wanted to kind of go over, though.
All right, Corey,
Yeah,
but you know what the people want to talk about, and it's not this.
Well, because me and Brandon was talking about it yesterday. Shakur Stevenson in boxing, right? Because, Shakur Stevenson is a name that's been thrown around. Devin Haney's a name been thrown around of guys that need to fight each other sooner than later. But Shakur Stevenson was at a party with Devin Haney, and what he did, he sent bottles over to Devin Haney with the message, sign the contract.
Do we have that video?
Let me see if we got the video. I don't think we have the video of it.
Well, let's move on. Hold on, let's do this. Let's move on. Like, we send you over this information. We don't see any of this B-roll, any of the graphics.
I know. I just wanted to paint the picture, and then we talked about it.
But we don't have to paint the picture. It happened in 4K. There's a video for it.
Yeah, we wanted to see it.
Yeah.
All right,
we don't have the video.
Sorry, people. Sorry, people.
Sorry, we don't have the video. But what we do have is a picture of the Browns' new logo. I wanted to talk about that. Cleveland Browns, they got a new logo, right? They've embodied or embraced the bulldog mentality. And now they've come up with their own new logo, right? Which has like a whole bunch of hidden symbols, which I thought was pretty cool.
Don't care.
All right, so let's see.
So now, but like if you notice, just real quick, like on the dog's right ear, like on the left-hand side, you got the state of Ohio. You got like the Cleveland Browns' pound helmet. That's like in the dog's like left eyebrow or whatnot. And then you got, was it a guard? Is it the Guardian Bridge? So that's like in like the mouth of the dog. It's pretty cool. They got a whole bunch of logos and a whole bunch of hidden images. But the Browns, maybe we'll see this show up a lot more next season.
So can we throw that back up there? I do find it interesting. Ashley doesn't care. She's ready to talk basketball. She wants to talk about the Nuggets. She and Fat Joe and also the gentleman who did the futures
jinx my football season
were the only ones to pick the Denver Nuggets to win it. But this is interesting, Ashley. Like, to go this deep, I love the word depth. Like, to go here, it's pretty impressive. You're not impressed with this?
I'm impressed by the graphic designers and the thought that went into designing this logo. Yeah. You guys know I don't care about the Cleveland Browns. Don't care. But I will give credit where credit is due. I'm big into art. I'm big into, I like to go to the museums a lot and things like that. This is very cool. A lot of thought went into this. Shout out to the people who designed it. It's not going to help their team win a Super Bowl, but
so you don't think the Cleveland Browns have a chance at all this year? You don't.
The Browns have a dark cloud over them. They're not going to win for a very long time. I think they're cursed.
I mean, they got a tough division too, honestly.
Let's go. Let's talk about basketball.
We're going to talk basketball now. We're going to talk NBA. Denver Nuggets. They captured their first title.
I said what I said. I mean, it is what it is. The same.
So you actually believe in things affecting the team outside of just X's and O's and statistics.
Do you not believe in the curse of the Bambino?
You always shut me down when I talk about the will of the athlete.
That's not the will. They're cursed.
There's things that happens.
You never heard of the curse of the Bambino?
I don't believe in that.
Tell that to Boston Red Sox fans.
No.
It took them a long time to break that curse. You thought that was coincidence?
So next time I talk about, a underdog, a team like the Suns having Kevin Durant.
Those are two different things.
It's not.
Okay.
Anyways.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk NBA Finals. So the Denver Nuggets, they did it. They captured their first title in franchise history. They beat the Miami Heat last night, 94-89, and they did that in 5 games. Captured the title in 5 games. What's your thoughts?
What's your thoughts?
What's
Let's start
my
with
thought?
you.
What's my thought? My thought is, they were the number 1 seed for a reason going into the playoffs. All throughout the playoffs, they proved they were the number 1 seed. And Jokic proved that he was the best player on the best team in the NBA, and they got it done. I mean, just what Jokic did throughout these entire playoffs was just, remarkable. They said he's the first player to lead a playoff run in points, rebounds, and assists. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was just a crazy stat I thought of, or not I didn't think of, but I had heard, just after they captured their title. But yeah, no,
also
it's crazy.
one of the
and
also the lowest draft pick to ever lead his team to an NBA title.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. First, before we talk about the Denver Nuggets, I mean, that was a big deal. There's so many storylines within this story, right? You can talk about Joker. You can talk about Jamal Murray. You could talk about Coach Malone and his journey. You could talk about the franchise. You can talk about the owner, Kroenke. Like, I think this is a legendary feat for any owner. Like, he's won championships in all of the 4 major American sports. Did I read that correctly, Ashley? Steve Kroenke, the owner.
What about him?
What I just said.
I didn't hear what you just said. I was reading the chat.
Like, what?
Sorry.
Like, what do you mean? Like,
I was reading the chat to keep up with what our viewers are saying. What did you say?
I was like, it was such a beautiful
deliberate statement.
Yeah, it was
okay,
like
so
Steve
redeliver
Kroenke.
it.
So the owner, I think he's like the only owner that's won a championship in all the 4 major American sports. Am I right there, Woo?
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, I'll read off what he has.
The LA Rams. He just bought the LA Rams a couple years ago. They won the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
Two-time Super Bowl champs.
Okay.
99 and 2021. Then he has Stanley Cup, MLS, 2010 MLS, 2023 NBA champion, and a 2-time NLL champion.
Dang, he's
So
rich.
who are the teams that he owns?
I'll look into them.
The Nuggets.
Rams.
You said
The Rams.
The MLS team is who?
The Nuggets, the Rams, the MLS team, and the Avalanche.
Dang.
Wow.
I don't know what the soccer team in Denver is called, but that was dope. But basically, what I was saying, Ashley, when I was trying to talk to you, and you're in the chat.
It is interesting though that he owns all of those Denver teams except for his NFL team.
It's a lacrosse team.
Yeah, it's a lacrosse team.
The
That is
Colorado
interesting.
Mammoth.
Well, to get the Rams, what he had to do is he had to sell a portion of his team, because you can't. The NFL have different rules. And don't take everything I'm saying as 100% right here, but you can't own an NFL team and an NBA team just right out, 100% out.
Oh, you can.
So I feel like he had to sell a portion to his daughter or somebody, so he can purchase the Rams, because he owned the. He actually owned. No, he. Why you say 99 with the Rams? No, he just bought the Rams. I felt.
Well, it colluded it together as 99. It might have been maybe another NFL team
because he owned the Avalanche and the Nuggets. I felt like. But anyways, those are the storylines. Look how it created this whole story. But shout out to the Miami Heat. Corey, you were supposed to do this. Ashley put you in position, right? As she's coming down. Pause. I was about to say something, a pause moment. As she's attacking you, talking about you're wearing all black and it's supposed to be a terrible day for you, what you're supposed to say is nah, look, we don't want no moral victories, but I do want to show love to the Miami Heat and this organization, because the Miami Heat's playoff run was special. They lost the first play-in game to the Hawks. They beat the Bulls in a play-in finale for the number 8 seed. Number 8 seed reaches the freaking finals, okay? They were knocked out. They knocked out the number 1 seed in the Bucks, all right, in 5 games. They beat the number 5 seed in the Knicks in 6. They beat the number 2 seed, Ashley's pick, and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the first play-in team to make the finals, and second number 8 seed to make the finals.
They definitely had a Cinderella season. They overachieved, and they got there by grit. They got there by perseverance, not taking that away from them. But, you know, the Denver Nuggets were the better team. They were the team that was more prime and ready to go ahead and go all the way. I think also the storylines within the Denver Nuggets are really cool. Jokic obviously being drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, and his humility as a player is something that makes it so, even if you're not a Denver Nuggets fan, it makes it so hard to root against him sometimes, because he, after that game, before he even celebrated, before he stopped to have a conversation with any of the sideline reporters, he took time to shake every single Miami Heat player's hand.
Yeah.
Like, literally sought them out to shake their hand. To have that kind of humility and that kind of awareness of your surroundings and knowing I just won a championship, but that means also somebody just lost. Is just so kind. And I mean, even if you hear him in his press conferences, he were talking about the parade being on Thursday. He's like, no, I want to go home, like to his horses. And he's just so likable. Right. He reminds me a lot of a Tim Duncan. He's just so humble and he just comes across so kind, and he's such a dominant player, and he's such an assassin on the court that you almost expect him to be an asshole. You almost expect him to be like not a nice person, and he's so the opposite of that. Jamal Murray also, I mean, what a run for him. This is somebody who couldn't walk.
Yeah, did you see how the crowd was reacting?
He got the standing ovation was amazing.
Yeah, when
I mean,
he got on the
this
mic
is somebody
after Jokic
who
spoke.
couldn't walk, and I remember, you know, when he was rehabbing, and I forget where in his rehab he made this statement, but he said that he was afraid the Denver Nuggets organization was going to give up on him because he was damaged goods. Yeah. And, you know, I think that when you're in the depth of something, when you're in the mix of something as traumatic as that, and Michael Porter Jr. is the same thing. You know, he had, 3 back surgeries, but, Jamal Murray kind of going through what he went through and the mental anguish it takes and just the determination it takes to get through that injury. And, he was talking about it previously during the, in the post game about how he couldn't even, at one point, he couldn't sleep. He couldn't lay on his leg, and he thought he would never play again. And to see just a year later, a year and some change later, he's hoisting up that trophy was really dope to see. And
it's a big deal.
It was an amazing moment, and no knock to the Heat. I have friends on that team. I have nothing but respect for Eric Spoelstra. But, I mean, it's hard to root against that Denver Nuggets team. They're a group of talented guys, but they're also they come across very nice. Yeah. And it's hard to root against, a nice, dominant team. It's they're not assholes. They're not showboating. It's just good basketball. I mean, it was dope to see. Yeah.
I'm trying to find something. I mean, obviously, everybody in the social media space right now is talking about the Denver Nuggets, as they should. There was some, I don't know if it was Bleacher Report, Complex Sports, or The Athletic, but they had a timeline of Jamal Murray's, last few years. It's hard, Ashley, for a player to take off 500 and something days and then come back and find himself in this position, right? So I'm going back to when he tore his ACL and how many days he took off and how he got back to this position, right? So, I'll say this, and this is just who I am. I'm not afraid to go back and correct something or just say I'm going in a different direction. But before this series, the finals, I wasn't sold on Jamal Murray. And I can't say I'm 100% all in on Jamal Murray still, because I'm a guy that really wants to see sustained success to really buy in. I understand injuries come with the game, but what he did in the bubble was GOAT stuff, okay? And then we kind of lost that, then he got hurt, right? And now he's back. But man, was it special what he did these last couple series to get his team in this position. There are some experts out there saying that he he was the guy. Like, yeah, we're talking about Joker, but and Joker's so phenomenal, but you miss his brilliance because you're watching Joker so much, and Joker is the center of this team. But what he was able to do, bro, in these last couple series is really special, and so I do want to highlight that.
So you would say he's one of the best point guards in the NBA now?
No, I wouldn't say that. Why you being petty?
I'm just saying, I don't know how you can watch his performance throughout this entire playoff, not just this series, his entire playoff series from beginning to end.
Yep.
Look at his numbers and not say he's a dog and not say he's one of the best right now in the NBA at his position. I just don't know how somebody can say that. And I don't know how somebody can say they only won because of Jokic. That's not fan? Far. That couldn't even be further from the truth. Yes.
Jeremy Lin. Tell me about Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin and Jamal Murray are not even in the same stratosphere.
Jeremy Lin had a legendary run.
Jeremy Lin had a legendary week. Let's be for real.
A week? That's all it was,
Lin's sanity was like a few weeks. Let's not.
Ashley,
you cannot put Jeremy Lin. Putting Jeremy Lin and Jamal Murray in the same conversation is so
No, it's not. No, it's not far off. It's not.
It is so egregiously disrespectful.
The only thing that could be disrespectful about it, or it's hard to compare, is that they actually had success in the postseason. But we talk about a run. Jamal Murray had a dope run, in the bubble. And then he just had a dope run in the postseason. I mean, look at his stats, what he averaged this year. There was nothing that jumped off the charts to you.
What?
Is there anything that jumped off the charts to you?
Did you not watch him in this postseason?
I said this season leading up to the postseason.
Even in this
season. You got to remember which all
just give me the stats. Give me the numbers.
Like,
give me the numbers. Now I'm doing a Trump thing.
He went
now I'm doing a
500
Trump thing. Give me the numbers.
16 points per game.
Oh, my goodness. Woo! Jamal Murray, 16 points a game. He is amazing.
Is he not contradicting, like, the point he made?
He's literally
right before this? He was just like,
you
know how hard it is to go 500 days and then come back?
I'm not contradicting.
You literally just contradicted yourself.
Like
y'all not listening to what I'm saying. See, I tell stories. See, what y'all listening to is, here's the thing. All right, really quickly, and then y'all can take whatever, because one second, because I'm not going, this is very important, Woo. This is very important. See, what they do, Woo, is they take little sound bites that I'm saying, and then they try to jump on that, her and Corey and Ashley.
You said Jeremy Lin.
I tell stories. You got to listen to everything I'm saying. They're not listening to what I'm saying. I went back and saluted.
What you're saying doesn't make sense. You cannot compare Jeremy Lin to Jamal Murray. Yes, Jamal Murray coming into the season was not averaging nearly what he's averaging in the postseason. But as you just said, he was coming off of a major injury after not playing basketball for 500 plus days. He wasn't going to come and start averaging 40 off the bat. As the season progressed, he got drastically better, and in the playoffs, his numbers were ridiculous. That is not even a fraction of what Jeremy Lin did.
I can salute a player and say, great job, right? But then when we're talking about elite, we're talking about the best of the best, I got to see sustained success. So that's why I went to Jeremy Lin. Because if you look at his career, or if you look at this season, there's no real sustained success. Like, has he done it year after year after year?
He's not even in the league anymore.
I'm talking about, that's my point. That's why y'all got to listen to me instead of jumping to conclusions.
There's a reason he's not in the league anymore.
Jeremy Lin had a phenomenal, it wasn't a week, he had a phenomenal half a season. It was crazy run. Linsanity was more than a week.
Right, let me interject.
I'm a Knicks fan.
So apparently he got put in on the Knicks game after they lost 11 to 13 games on February 4th of 2012.
Preach.
Yeah,
he basically had a couple weeks and then had surgery for his meniscus on March 31st.
It wasn't even half a season. It was barely a month.
It was like 2 months.
It was barely a month. I'm trying to keep it straight, man. I remember Linsanity very well. It was like 2 months.
Linsanity was only 2 months. They got documentaries on Linsanity.
It wasn't that long. It was barely half a month. It was barely a month and a half. Barely.
Longer than that.
It felt longer than that. It was 60 days, B.
And the most explosive time of Linsanity was like the first 2 weeks. It lost its spark after a while. That is nowhere near Jamal Murray.
Yeah, that's a hard comparison.
Jamal Murray, how long was he in the bubble? That was 2 months.
Murray, because you really just like coming at him sideways.
Maybe that wasn't the best comparison. But Jamal Murray in the bubble, what I was saying, it still kind of goes. It was only a couple weeks too, right? Because remember, They played how many games, and then the season was on hold. NBA was the first team to say we're not doing anything, and then there was the first ones that, we're gonna go in the bubble. And then so how long was the bubble? Compare that bubble to Linsanity. Am I still?
No, because the difference is the bubble. Jamal Murray had a major injury that you just said took him 500 plus days to come back from. His first season back, yes, he wasn't going to go ahead and average what he was averaging in the bubble. It takes time for your body to get reacclimated. But if you watch the season progress, he also progressed, and he got back to some semblance of what we saw in the bubble. Obviously, the bubble provided a different experience in a different environment for a lot of players. We saw them shoot better than they do normally in the regular seasons for a lot of different factors. But Jamal Murray has gotten back to a version of that, and you saw that in the playoffs. So I can't see how you can't.
All right, let me ask this question, because y'all in the chat, you chatters, Ashley, Corey, y'all like to team up on me. Okay, so I'm gonna be clear here. Ashley, name the top point guards in the NBA. And I'm gonna be done after this. Give me some of the top point guards.
Steph. Ja. Dame. I mean, and these aren't true point guards.
Like you said yesterday with Antoine, it's hard to say there's true point guards still in the league. And I disagree with Antoine. I wasn't able to interject. He said like half of the NBA still true point guards. I don't see it like that. But go ahead.
You don't think that
I'm leaning towards you.
Oh, that there aren't true point guards.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think let me look up
okay, go ahead.
Let me look up CP3's numbers. But I don't think that there's true point guards in the. I mean, even
top 4 in assists.
Even Halliburton's not a true point guard. So
just give me the.
I would go Steph. This is not an order. Steph, Dame, Kyrie.
Go ahead. We both don't need to put up our fingers.
Steph, Kyrie, Dame, Ja.
What is Spider Mitchell?
I'm putting Jamal Murray in the conversation.
What about Spider?
Shay's a point guard, right?
No. He's more like a 2.
I got BC saying Spider's not a point guard.
No.
I mean, the name I'm thinking you might be leaving out is
he's a shooting guard.
De'Aaron Fox, that's the name I'm thinking of. Sorry, really De'Aaron Fox. That's 6 right there.
Before this run, so we just last year we were Chris Paul was rising up the charts.
Chris Paul's not a top point guard in the NBA anymore. We need to end this conversation. He's 95 years old. He is not a top point guard in the NBA. We need to stop this. It is not true anymore. He's probably the last of what the true point guard position is, but he is not a top point guard. We're talking top. We're talking De'Aaron Fox. We're talking Steph Curry. We're talking Kyrie Irving.
You're point guard for the Knicks. You ain't even throw him in there.
Jalen Brunson.
Keep going.
Now, for sure.
I think SGA is a point guard though.
No, he's not.
He plays the point.
No, I mean he has the
he's
ball.
There, again, there's no true point guard.
So if there's no true point guards, why can't you put Spider in there then? Why can't you put Spider in there?
Because that's not Donovan's game.
So you're saying. Like, so what are we? I feel like it's just guard.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
So we have I'm listing the 2022-23 season top 10 assisting
Trae Young
players. All but one are all PGs, and the only one that's not a PG is Jokic. He's a center, but it's James Harden first, Trae Young, Nikola, Chris Paul, Ja Morant, Luka, Darius Garland, Russell Westbrook, Drew Holiday, and Damian Lillard. Those are the top 10 passers. If we're going off old ways.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an old point guard anymore. Yeah. It's point guards now they score too much to go ahead and be true points. A true point's not really supposed to have those scoring numbers that Kyrie and Steph and them have. That's why. But Jamal Murray's in that conversation. I'm putting Jamal Murray.
Now he is after this postseason. I just said that
this season.
But yeah, but y'all talk. The reason why I brought that up is because y'all telling me about the season. Oh, did y'all watch him in the season? And I asked about stats, Corey. I seen you over there. You feel like you want to get something off your chest. He averaging 16 points. That ain't jumping off the books. We didn't talk about Jamal Murray this season. Did anybody say, oh my goodness, did you see what y'all did this week? Did he have his Linsanity moment? He didn't have his Linsanity moment. He didn't have his Steph Curry moment. He didn't have no Dame Lillard moment. He did that in the postseason. So why would I come into this season saluting Jamal Murray? He ain't do nothing. He did something this postseason. Salute. Phenomenal. Now we can talk about it. That's all I was saying. But then y'all want to jump in conclusions, Corey.
Listen, Jamal Murray, we're putting him into this conversation solely off of what we know he's capable of.
Oh, now
and the 16 points per game is skewed only because he was coming off of injury. That's the point we've been trying to make. But
that don't work in the league.
Ashley was talking about him getting acclimated.
Potential?
You could definitely say he was acclimated.
That's what we talking about. Potential.
It's not even potential. How many points per?
That's what we talking about.
How many points per game does Darius Garland average? How many points per game did he average this season?
I was just starting there. Give me assists. 20. Give me rebounds. Give me steals. Give me anything that Jamal Murray did this season that 21? Jumped off the board.
What about Drew Holiday? Because Darius Garland's a point.
19.3.
19?
More than Jamal.
19.3. How many assists?
7.4.
How many? Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Keep going.
I was going to say rebound doesn't matter.
Keep going.
What was Jamal Murray's regular season numbers?
20 points and 6.2 assists.
That was Jamal Murray?
It bumped up at 20.
What was Jamal?
Okay.
What was Jamal?
Jamal was 20 and what?
6.
20 and 6.
Okay.
So 19 and 7, 20 and 6. Do you not have...
She found one little loophole. Look, she found one.
That's what I'm saying. What you're saying doesn't make sense. Would you say Drew Holiday's a top 10 point guard in the NBA?
Well,
so
we got to define point guard. Are we doing your point guard or are we doing Antoine Walker's point guard?
What position he is listed as, whether it's true point guard, the new age point guard, would you say Drew Holiday's top 10?
I would say before the postseason.
No, would you say Drew Holiday is a top 10 point guard in the NBA?
I'm not going to play by your rules.
They can't count the postseason. I'm just saying in general.
Going into this year, I think a lot of us would have picked Drew Holiday over Jamal Murray.
So you're saying Drew Holiday's a top 10 point guard in the NBA?
I don't know.
I'm not.
You don't know?
I need to see the list. Give me the list. You just name. Can y'all put a list together? Can we have a graphic?
Steph Curry, Luka,
boom.
John Morant, Damian Lillard.
Dame
I'll give you Chris Ancient Paul.
Did you say Steph?
I just said Steph. He was the first one I said.
Okay, so
Darius Garland. Drew Holiday,
your boy,
Jamal Murray,
your boy,
Jalen Brunson. That's
Trae Young.
You could put Trae Young in there. Jamal Murray's still in the top 10.
What about your point guard? You ain't put
I put Jalen Brunson in there, and that's still 10.
So wait, he's 10.
I'm not putting it in order. What I'm saying.
Okay, but if let's say he's 10, let's say he's 9, let's say he's 8, let's say he's 7. That's not elite to me. That's not elite to me because you're top 10. No, elite to me. Let me do it this way. So there's 30 NBA teams. There's 32 NFL teams. All right, let me talk about what I know. Football, wide receivers. So you're telling me elite, like when I talk about elite, I'm talking about the gentleman in Vegas. I'm talking about Justin Jefferson. There's probably 5 or 6 dudes that's just like, oh, they elite. They game changers. Everybody else here, you can put up numbers. You can be in a great situation, but my elite is different than your elite.
Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to give you Chris Ancient Paul because I'm putting Kyrie in his spot. Paul.
We forgot about Kyrie.
I'm putting Kyrie in his spot.
But can we also take into account that Jamal Murray is only in year 7?
What I'm saying is that
go ahead, Mr. Potential. Year 6, you should be in your prime.
This is my point, Corey. Is that if we're gonna go ahead and use the fact of Jamal Murray's numbers not being as explosive as they were in the playoffs, the top 10 point guards in the NBA, depending on what your list looks like, and there's also Shea and people like that, Drew Holiday is averaging less points, more assists than Jamal Murray. Yeah. So how is he a top 10 point guard, but Jamal Murray isn't? It doesn't make any sense.
I never said he wasn't top 10.
That's impressive.
Ashley, that's your thing that you keep harping on. You did it yesterday with Antoine.
You did say he wasn't top 10.
To me, elite, top 5. Now we cooking with Crystal.
No.
Yeah. Well, I will throw this out.
That's not how that works.
Luka, it's just expectations.
No.
We like talking about dating on this show. When you sit down with some people, that's why we always have problems in our relationships.
Top 10 is elite.
Can I say this? That's why we always have problems in our relationships, because we get into these relationships and we don't sit down and talk about what the expectations are. We don't write that out. What are the expectations? What are you expecting of me? Right? What does this mean to you? So all I'm saying with you, Ashley, your elite is different than my elite. You're saying elite is 10. Maybe my standards are just a little bit higher than yours.
Your standards don't make any sense. Out of 400 players in the NBA, point guards, how many point guards are there in the NBA, roughly?
I'm looking at 30. I don't care about 400. I'm looking at 30. 30.
Maybe?
I mean, 30 teams, and you got your...
Probably like 30 to 40, right? Roughly?
Yeah,
Who can go ahead and fact check me on that? Yeah. You're talking about 10 out of 40 players. 10 out of 40. That means out of a room of 40 people, you are the 10 best.
LeBron's
How is
a
that
point guard
not elite?
too. Hey, throw LeBron in that top 10 as well.
Oh,
Top 10. LeBron's a point guard too, is he not?
LeBron is not a point guard.
Yes, he is. He touched. Who's bringing the ball
LeBron's
up the
a point
most on
guard?
that team? Who's bringing the ball?
LeBron
up?
is a point
I don't
guard.
care what he's on the stat sheet.
LeBron is a point guard.
Listen to what I'm saying, Ashley. Not on paper, but who's bringing up the ball? Who's facilitating the offense? Isn't that a point guard? Woo, help me. I digress now. Because that's what I'm looking at. I don't care about, it's like in football. You're a defensive end, but you're outside linebacker. We want to pay you this. We want to pay you that. I don't care about that. What am I doing on the field? What am I doing on the court? Then you can define my position. LeBron James brings up the basketball more than anybody on his team, which tells me he is the point guard. He gets the team in and out of their plays. He is the leader. He's everything to that team. LeBron James is a point guard. I don't care what you have him on paper. Am I off here?
I mean, no, you're not.
Am I
I don't
off,
want to get
Ashley?
too far off from the Nuggets, though. I do want to stay on the Nuggets, and I want to talk about Jamal Murray's teammate. Can we do that? Can we talk about Jokic?
Okay.
A point guard.
Also at 65, Ashley?
Honestly speaking, Jamal Murray
He'd
isn't
be a
even
point
the main
forward, not a point
facilitator.
guard.
Wait, come on, tomato.
It's two totally different things. But go ahead,
Listen,
Corey.
yeah, we got to talk about
We
this.
gonna go in circles.
No, we got to talk about this because, I mean, like I said, Jamal Murray's not even really the main facilitator on that team. It's Jokic, right? Where does this championship place Jokic on the list of all-time centers?
You go first.
On the cusp. I know I tweeted out top 5 yesterday. I would say
Great tweet.
Yeah.
You're a great tweeter,
Let me read his stats first. 2-time NBA MVP, right? 5-time NBA All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 3-time Serbian Player of the Year, and NBA Western Conference Finals MVP. Not to mention now he's an NBA champion and also NBA Finals MVP. So where is he on the top list?
I wouldn't be mad if someone had it in the top 5. Then you have to have the conversation of who you take out, because top 5 is what? Bill Russell, Hakeem, Shaq, Wilt, Kareem, right? Those are the.
Yeah,
I would say those are the
names that come
universal to big 5, right?
Right.
You would have to figure out who he can take out. Probably not going to be Bill Russell. It's not going to be.
I'll take out Wilt.
You would take out Wilt?
Only because his numbers seem so fictitious based on the timeline.
Yeah.
It would be borderline between. I'm not mad at taking out Wilt.
Yeah.
Or Hakeem.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to
I mean,
take him
Because
out,
Hakeem
but like,
had better defense, but I think Jokic is better offensively.
That's what I'm saying. You can argue.
Y'all having the
Jokic's
wrong
got
conversation.
probably-
It depends on what you value in a big man, right?
Yeah.
I would say I wouldn't be mad at Jokic being in the top 5. I think also you could split his 5 with like a Hakeem or something, because I think it's hard. Jokic isn't defensively that great. Hakeem offensively wasn't that great. So it depends on what you value. I'm going to say top 5, though. I'm going to put him in the 5. I'm going to tie him 5 with somebody else.
Okay.
See, I feel like we're having the wrong conversation here, and I think maybe energy right now for me is be combative. But it's like he's one of one, right? There's some players that come along where you just can't put them in just one position. You can't put them in a box. And so I feel like the easy conversation is this. Okay, where does he rank amongst, the greats at the center position? This dude is just different.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, I look like Dirk was a guy. Like Dirk is Dirk. Steph is Steph. Right? You talk about, we having this conversation about point guards. So even like a couple years ago when Chris Paul was going on this crazy run and we're like, all right, is he now in the top 5 all time? Where will he end his career at? Could he potentially be 2 or 3? Can he rise up that list? And then we had Steph thrown in there. I was like, you can't even put Steph in there. Like, Steph is just Steph. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like Allen Iverson. We've never seen anything like KD. We've never seen anything like LeBron. We've never seen anything like Magic. So I just think that we can't even put him in the whole center conversation. It's just like, yo, and I don't even know what we need to call it, but it's a very special place. It's a different fraternity. Like when you could come in and you kind of evolve the game, you push the game forward. Like now you got to think about how many freaking 6'7", 6'8", so 6'7" and above guys now are trying to play like Dirk. Remember, if you're 6'7", I'm trying to play like KD. How many kids now is saying I want to play like this guy? Excuse me, Joker. I said Dirk. Joker. That's the conversation we need to have. It's special. It's special. And so for me, you know, he's going to go down if he continues this. And it seems like he will, Ashley, because you look at his demeanor. You talked about it earlier in the show. His poise is like, man, this is what I do. I'm ready to go home. Yo, he might go down as a top 5 player of all time. And I don't know what he needs to do, okay, to reach that. Yeah. The only thing I do know, I would say this, is sustained success. Yeah. So is that 5 more years like that? Or is it 10 more years? I don't know. But this dude is different, Corey.
Yeah, no, you make a good point there. Honestly, I was just getting ready to add. I'm like, that sounds like you're making an argument for him almost being the best center of all time. Like,
that's disrespectful. That's disrespect. Go ahead, Woo.
No, I was just gonna say, I think you said the word evolve, right? Yeah. I think this is an evolutionary type of player. Like how Steph Curry came in and made everyone shoot threes. Yeah, right. Everyone's gonna want to be a better passer. Big men are going to want to be better. They're not just going to want to hold in the hole anymore. I think, Brandon, the word evolve is kind of more key to who Jokic is. It's not top center. It's evolving type of player. He's changing the game.
Yeah. Let me correct something that I said because people don't listen.
Oh, like you didn't.
No, like the chat's misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying Hakeem couldn't score. I'm not saying he wasn't great offensively. I'm saying offensively, Jokic has the edge on them. Defensively, Hakeem has the edge on Jokic. That was my point. I'm not saying that Hakeem wasn't great offensively. I'm saying Jokic is better than him offensively if you look at their numbers. With that said, looking at all the top 5 centers, what universally is kind of top 5, I would agree with you, Woo. I would take Wilt out. And I would put Jokic in his spot.
I just feel like they never use his name when they compare.
I would agree with you on that.
Crazy numbers.
I would agree with you on that. I would take Wilt out and put Jokic in his spot to crack the top 5. If I had to remove, you're not going to remove Shaq. Definitely not going to remove Kareem. Not going to remove Hakeem. I think the only player to make definitely can't remove Bill Russell. More rings than fingers. You'd have to remove Wilt.
But are you taking Jokic before Bill Russell though?
I'm not looking at the order. I'm just looking at top 5. In order for Jokic to crack the top 5, someone has to be removed. For me, if I had to remove someone, it'd be Wilt.
Yeah.
It's tough though to do an order.
But I mean, it's hard. It's hard too. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I respect some of these guys, but I ain't watched no damn Wilt. Like, when's the last time we watched Wilt highlights? For real.
In black and white.
Ashley, come on now. Like, what are we talking about right now?
That's why I got to get rid of him.
I mean, some people will say there are no highlights because it didn't happen. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But think about that, though. Like, I think it's just hard, Corey. I think it's hard to talk about Wilt. Even, some of the others, it's like, we really didn't watch it. It's easy for us to debate LeBron and MJ, because we still see MJ's highlights every single day. Every time we step out, we're MJ out of our crib. Go on social media, MJ. It's everywhere. Hell, it's somewhere on our board probably. Ashley, probably you wearing some MJ. No, you a Kobe fan. Kobe's your GOAT, right?
Kobe's my GOAT, but Jordan's the GOAT. I say that all the time.
Okay. I may stay focused right now.
I also want to throw this out for
Can't
Ashley.
Be more than one GOAT.
Hakeem has been a blocking champ 3 times, 9-time all-defensive.
No, his defense was insane.
Yeah, 2-time
he could guard 1 through 5.
Player of the year.
Yeah,
2 times.
He could guard every single position.
Like, I get what you're saying. He also averaged over 20 points.
He averaged, I believe, his numbers are that he averaged 21 to Jokic's 25. So offensively, like I said, and he also had less rebounds and he also had less assists than Jokic. That's what I'm saying. If I had to go ahead and give the offensive edge to a player, it would be to Jokic. But defensively, Hakeem was unstoppable. I mean, he can guard 1 through 5. I can't put Jokic in that same conversation with him defensively. Offensively, I think Jokic has the edge. Offensively, I think that you can't put. I would put Jokic. Like I said, I would put Jokic over Hakeem. But defensively is what takes him over the edge. I mean, Hakeem. There wasn't a position Hakeem couldn't guard.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, like you said, Jokic's bag was just a lot deeper than a than say like a Hakeem Olajuwon.
You said his bag is deeper?
No, yeah, I think Jokic is bad. Like he how do I want to put it? Like he shows up more on the offensive end for your team than a Hakeem Olajuwon would. Does that make sense?
I don't know about that.
On the
King
offensive end, he shows up more because Jokic is facilitating.
Remember Hakeem on the baseline though, Ash?
He's a 3-level scorer.
Crazy.
You know, but like, yeah,
don't
but
he still teach guys coming in now?
I don't know. I don't know if I can take that. I don't know if I can take that.
He just evolved a lot. Like he moves like Olajuwon, right, Ash? Am I off there? Doesn't Joker move like Olajuwon? Like his like little moves and.
No.
You don't think so?
Olajuwon was like
Olajuwon was a specimen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Jokic doesn't have. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
digress when I need to digress.
I can't give you Jokic's bag is deeper than Olajuwon. I can't give you that.
You got to understand what I mean by that. Like his post, like Olajuwon's post bag is deeper than Jokic's. But
of course.
Overall game, Jokic has more in his game. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like he has a 3-pointer.
Yeah. He's a 3-level scorer. He's a facilitator. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Did we have this conversation already? I know it was online, but Joker, potentially going down as the greatest passer of all time, over Magic. I think people have LeBron up there as well, and you have obviously the point guards as well. But Magic is considered potentially the best passer. You going with Magic? Okay, Ashley said we're going with Magic. Yo, this is a pretty dope debate. This is probably the 5th time where I've actually led the debate, right? Ashley, you'll give me the crown today?
No.
Why
do you think you won?
The Jamal Murray, I cooked
you brought up Linsanity and you were dead wrong.
I mean, just because one part of my
your whole argument was wrong.
Just because I lost credibility off one part of it don't mean the whole thing. But also, do you understand what I was saying earlier where you guys take sound bites and y'all not listen to my whole story? You know, I'm a story guy. I'm a storyline guy. Listen to everything I'm saying and how it comes back around. You ever sat down with a person and it's like, I don't know where the hell they're going with this, but I know they're going somewhere, right? And so you like look at them, you keep locking in, like, oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. That's how y'all need to listen to me, Ash. In the chat, that's how y'all need to listen to me. And I heard something out there where it's like, you got to teach people how to treat you. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to reestablish for everyone out there, this is how you listen to me. Because y'all going to think I'm coming off crazy if y'all don't listen to the whole 4-minute rant. Don't listen to the first minute and then try to come to conclusion. Let me finish my soundbite and see how I bring it all together. Fair?
I need a smoothie. Is my smoothie here? I can't.
Hey, listen, before we move on from the NBA Finals, what's next for the Heat? You know, this is where I was gonna say it was a great run, right? Like second number 8 seed to make it to the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. Like if you told me before the playoffs that the Heat were gonna make it to the NBA Finals, I honestly wouldn't have believed you. Of course, I'm gonna always root for my team. I love my guys, but they overachieved in making it to the NBA Finals. I can honestly say that. But I want to ask you guys, what's next for the Miami Heat?
They need to get some scoring help fast. They're gonna have to trim a lot of the fat. They're going to have to go after a big fish. I just think that it was very concerning, Jimmy Butler's just play in this series. There were moments where he wasn't even looking at the basket, which is so uncharacteristic for Jimmy Butler. But I think also and I hate to use this because everybody's tired at the finals. It's not like that's, an abnormal thing.
Right.
Excuse me. But it's clear that Jimmy can't do all the work, and it feels like Jimmy also doesn't want to hold the brunt of everything at this stage in his career. He needs someone he can share that load with. Mm-hmm. I think Bam's coming into his own each and every season a little bit more, but you still need a true point guard to help facilitate that floor. And when I say true point guard, obviously, you also are going to get the scoring help from them because nobody's just a straight facilitator anymore.
Yeah, when you're looking at this roster,
they need that. Kyle Lowry has to go.
Yeah,
I think you're going to have to trim some of those undrafted guys as well.
Yeah.
I would keep Caleb Martin. I don't know if I would keep Gabe Vincent.
Really?
I don't know if I would keep Gabe Vincent. Caleb Martin, yes. If I could keep Gabe Vincent for cheaper, for less money, I would do it. Okay. Duncan Robinson, you got to figure out what to do with that money.
I'd say that's the only. But
he's a defensive liability.
Yeah. But I think he came along later in the playoffs. Would you say?
He's a defensive liability, and he's streaky. Yeah. He's not. I mean, you guys paid him the season before last, and he sat on the bench in the Eastern Conference Finals. Right. That's a problem. He's making $90 million a year. He's on a $90 million contract.
Who's that?
Right. Duncan Robinson. Like it's just not. I don't know.
He hasn't been the same since he made those comments, right? Or was he deserving of that $90 million? I just don't.
I would say you let Strus walk if you can't keep him for cheap. You can't. The thing is, Corey, you can't keep everyone if you're gonna if you're gonna go after a big fish.
Yeah.
Because a big fish is gonna want a big paycheck. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to lose a lot of those undrafted guys, and you want to hope that you can make up that scoring help in that big fish. Mm-hmm. I don't think you lose Caleb Martin. I would lose Gabe Vincent. I would lose Strus. Duncan, you got to figure something out with him because it's just. I don't know what you do with that, honestly. That's a big question mark for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you for the most part. I think, though, what I've thought was keep those core guys, which are those undrafted free agent guys that you spoke of. And, I mean, we saw
How do you keep them all, though? Because they're going to want to get paid.
Of course. But that's why, what I was going to say next was, you might have to part ways with a guy like Tyler Hero. I think we saw throughout the playoffs, of course, we love him, right? He was a 20 points per game scorer. But I think he adds, some value to a trade package that he could potentially put together. And like I was going to say, he showed throughout the playoffs, or the Heat showed throughout the playoffs, that they can have success without Tyler Hero. That was unfortunate, but, it was the reality. And then a guy like, I agree with you with sending off Kyle Lowry. But I think he adds value to somebody else's team, right? Veteran in the locker room.
Heat are done.
The Heat are done with this roster? What? Nah.
Like with the roster or just their championship hope?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just like,
you get a superstar though in return for a Tyler Hero.
I personally wouldn't cut Tyler Hero. That's just me.
I just feel like all the stuff that you said, Ashley had a real GM hat on, right? And that's like, but you need a superstar in the NBA these days. And Jimmy Butler, you heard Antoine yesterday. He was like, that's the type of guy where you just want like 20 points, let him do his thing on the glass and then go guard the opposing team's best player. But he can't be the guy that you're expecting to just carry it away throughout the entire year. You know what I mean? It's just too much for him. So I heard what you guys said. I just feel like the number one thing, can you go land a big fish? Can you bring a big fish down?
Yeah, that's gonna be the key.
And who's out there? Who's available?
Damian Lillard's the name that's swirling around.
And will Dame be enough, Ashley? If they get Dame, would that be enough?
Dame makes what, $60 million a year?
Yeah,
that's a lot of cash. You're gonna have to cut a lot.
So now we go into the depth conversation.
No, you're gonna have to cut a lot in order to pay Dame. So you're gonna have to package Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
To get Dame, you're gonna have to package probably Gabe Vincent, Strus. I don't know if the Trailblazers would want Lowry.
You wouldn't do that? You wouldn't put Tyler Hero?
The only thing that you risk by doing that is if you get a lower tier star, you don't have to cut as much as your supporting cast. Mm-hmm. To go after Dame, you have to trim a lot of fat. That's the only issue there, is are you willing to put all your stock in essentially one player? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to have to uproot a lot of your team and you're going to have to sign a bunch of random guys for minimums and stuff.
That's why, Corey, I said it earlier. Ashley teed you up. She threw you the alley-oop to really salute your team and the organization.
Oh, someone says Dame makes $45 million a year. That's actually a lot less than I thought. So you could package Hero.
Why can't we just say this was phenomenal? Like, this was a year that you guys was able to get it done, but, like, you think about competing. Do you really think that – I love Pat Riley. I love Spo. I love the culture of this organization. But who are you betting on next year? Astradamus, the Celtics, the Bucks,
I mean,
Philly.
Yeah,
like, where do you rank them in the East, even after this run they had?
It depends on what Miami does. If this is a team that trims the fat and gets meat, gets substance –
no, you need a superstar. That's
what I'm saying. If they're able to land Dame, let's say hypothetically, for $45 million is what he's making. He'll make 48, I think, the following year. You would have to package. You have no choice but to package Tyler Hero, Strus, Vincent, and probably a pick or whatever you like. You have to package a lot. I think that's still enough because you'd be able to keep Caleb Martin. You would be able to keep Duncan Robinson. I still think that Miami would be a team that you would have to
Lowry
look out
gotta
for.
go. The way he shot the.
Well, how much is Lowry even making?
I was sitting, like I told you, I was sitting in Prime Italian, and I heard it all the way in Prime Italian. What was it, Game 4? Ashley, I was talking about sitting next to the lady. Mm-hmm. He shot that damn ball so hard. I heard that shit 10 miles away on South Beach.
Yikes.
Boink.
Yikes.
Like, he got it.
What's Lowry making?
It don't matter. I'm just
well,
talking
if he's
right
not
now.
making much, him being there is not really affecting you.
Do we have? There's some other news. I want to shift gears here, and this is Ashley Nicole Moss, Astradamus. Ashley Nicole Moss, Fat Joe, and the future Bet King was the only people that picked the Denver Nuggets. I got to be clear here. You did pick the Denver Nuggets to come out of the West, right? Or,
yeah, but I did it during early in the season. I didn't do it before.
That's fine. That's still great. That's still good.
Fat Joe did it before the season, though, right?
Yeah, he's the king.
Yeah, I didn't.
Shout out to Fat Joe.
That wasn't my bet.
Fat Joe, I think it's time for you to start your own sports talk show. Let's go. I mean, he knows ball. Can you see him doing it?
I mean, he's entertaining. Why not?
He's dope. Or maybe he can just join. Maybe next year he's one of our basketball contributors.
That'd be interesting.
Big bro might consider it. But anyways,
let's move on.
Shannon Sharpe. Okay, I can't do it. Let me see. Wu just texted me. Diggs is ready. All right. Well, Shannon Sharpe's last day. So I want to get to that. He got emotional on the show. So hopefully we can pull, that clip, integrate it into our show, and then we'll come out and respond to it. What you
Kyle Lowry made $29 million. Oh, he's gotta go.
Last year he made
$29 million?
Yes, all right. We're gonna go on, move on. Ashley, you've been saying this. You've been saying this
to make those shots.
I'm telling you, I heard it on South Beach. Boink.
Yeah,
like, how the hell you missed it like that?
3 years, 85. Wow.
How you in the finals and you hitting the backboard that hard from the top? That don't mean you make
$29 million.
All right, let's move on because I don't want to bash nobody.
Holy crap! I could do that for 29 M's.
Faction Talk Channel 103, Sirius XM. For everybody's listening, Corey in the cut, Woo out west, BC in the booth, Ashley, Astradamus, Nicole Moss. She don't like me calling her by her government name. We got Mander Legend and also myself. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Ashley, you've been talking about this. Kind of throwing stuff out there here and there. Stefan Diggs, like, is there some beef? What's going on? So I saw this is more news. Sorry, Corey. Corey's probably like, damn, B, you messing up my whole rundown.
No, you're good, man.
But I felt like, we should talk about this.
Absolutely.
Can we throw up Adam Schefter's post from today? Do we have that? Woo?
You wanted the whole post or just the photos?
Oh Lord, we just off. Okay, don't worry. I don't know.
Well, I'm getting
I don't know what we had.
I got BC getting the Shannon Sharpe. I got BC getting the Shannon Sharpe right now.
Okay. I don't know where to go. You tell me where to go because we can go either way. You take over. I don't know which way to go because you text me and said Diggs is ready.
Yeah, I had the photos ready for Diggs.
Yeah, let's throw it up.
Okay, so let's throw up it's just the photos.
Oh, just photos.
I didn't know if you wanted me to do the whole post.
All right. Well, anyways, Diggs. Ashley, we've been talking about this. Stefan Diggs, no show for OTAs. It sounds like there was some things going on there. We talked to.
Well, Bills head coach, I have the quote here. Bills head coach Sean McDermott told reporters today that he is, quote, very concerned that wide receiver Stefan Diggs is not at Buffalo's mandatory minicamp today. So that's the direct quote. Very concerned.
That's right. And it's interesting because now his agent came out, all right, and he said, well, he took a physical yesterday, and he is indeed in Buffalo.
Oh.
And he will be, right? The second post was this. Let me see. Let me make sure I get it right. This is a DC, his agent. Let me see. That he will be attending mandatory minicamp and be there the rest of the way moving forward. So Stefan Diggs' agent, a DC, I can't say his last name, said his client is in Buffalo, has been in Buffalo since yesterday morning, took his physical, met with the head coach and the GM the past 2 days, and the Pro Bowl wide receiver will be there for the entirety of the minicamp. Ashley, what the hell is going on in Buffalo?
I'm very confused.
I mean,
I know.
It's like
did I confuse you or they're confused?
No, I'm very confused. Or like, it's like very miscommunication. Like, is he there? Is he not there? Or what are you concerned about if he is there? I'm very confused. I have questions.
Right, but you've been confused all off season, right? Because like, we hear things here and there. I just think we keep saying this, and I guess this is what we can continue to harp on and then move on. I think it's a story for us to watch. Like, I don't know. What way? It seems like there's some smoke there. Right? Like,
I mean, I think that's a fair assessment if you watched, that game against the Bengals.
Yeah, playoff game.
Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs had a little bit of contention on the sidelines. Now, some people will say that's just teammates pushing each other to be the best. And some will say it looked a little bit spicier than that. I think that with what has transpired since this, one side saying, no, we're here, we'll be here. The other side saying, we're concerned he's not here. Yeah. Seems like they have no idea that he will be there. It seems like the lines of communication are broken. And I feel like once lines of communication are broken, that leads to a lot of room and space for contention and misunderstanding.
Yeah. We can move on. I don't know if the Shannon Sharpe clip is ready.
Just give me and BC just one more minute. We got you.
Okay. So I just think it's something for all of us to pay attention to. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes right now that we're not privy to. We just don't have all the information. I'm talking about in all of football, all of sports, right? There's things that happen like, damn, like where did that come from? That came out of left field. This guy retired, or this guy got cut, this guy got traded, or this, you know what I mean? And I just think this is one of those deals. And if this happens, right? If this happens, it totally changes the East, the AFC East, right?
Yeah.
Because without Diggs, I just don't see Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen, but I don't think he's going to do what Patrick Mahomes did without Tyreek Hill. Like you see,
but he also had Travis Kelce still.
Yes, that's true.
So it's a little bit different.
But but all right. But think about this though. I'm a defensive coach. Double Travis Kelce. Don't let him beat us. Now can you go get the job done with all the others? So
okay. I mean, yes, but I mean we've seen Travis Kelce doubled and it's
so Josh Allen. So what you think Josh Allen is a Tom Brady-ish type guy that can go out there with guys and make the guys better?
I mean, we spoke to Von Miller at Radio Row, and he spoke about how close the team is and how they hang out, in Buffalo. And there's not much to do. They hang out with each other at each other's houses and, things like that. So you like to think that there's a level of camaraderie. I think that when there's that type of relationship, it allows certain things to happen versus if there's no relationship outside of the field.
Right.
So in that regard, I think that it will work in favor of Josh Allen. With that said, you still need that guy.
And remember,
a quarterback still needs that guy,
his
guy.
Safety blanket.
Right.
And remember DeAndre Hopkins too. That's the Bills and the Patriots. I feel like were the real, teams that could potentially get him. If you're DeAndre Hopkins, do you look at this as an opportunity? Or you look at this as a challenge. Opportunity meaning, okay, if Steph leaves, then I can come in. I'll go be that guy. We're good. Or it's like, and this is where I feel like his mindset would be. This is where my mindset would be as a wide receiver. Is like, no, I want to play with Diggs.
Yeah.
You got Diggs on one side, me on the other side. Now, what we doing? Right? The same way you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, you got A.J. Brown and you got Devontae Smith on one side. What we doing? What you going to do, defensive coordinator? So it's going to be interesting. And it's a story that we got to continue to follow.
You know why he's doing this, right?
I kind of know. I feel like I know.
I can tell you why he's doing it.
Why?
It's because he's trying to force his way to Dallas to play with his brother. Everyone knows that.
I think he's trying to get to New York.
He's trying to play with his brother. You heard it here first.
Interesting theory there.
The Diggs brothers will be reunited in the Big D. Just know that.
Whoa.
Free game.
Interesting.
You heard it here first.
Okay, Astrodamus. Hey, listen, she's hot right now.
You heard it here
first. She picked the Golden State Warriors to make it. She picked the Nuggets to come out the West. Jeez. We got to fact check all of this stuff.
Brandon, your clip is ready, I heard.
It's ready.
Yeah,
it's ready.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Brandon Marshall here, Ashley Nicole Moss. This is Paper Route presented by I Am Athlete. We're on YouTube every single day. Just want to say thank you to all you guys that rock with us. We're having a really good time doing this and learning and tweaking things and adding things. So continue to jump in the chat. Keep it real. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Ashley, does your feelings get hurt when people talk about you? Or talk about it? You good?
I don't care.
You got thick skin? Because y'all family to us.
Yeah, I don't care enough.
Y'all family to us. We love you guys. Shannon Sharpe, other big news in sports. I don't know how long he's been in the FS1 world and on the show Undisputed, but it kind of broke the internet a little bit, the sports internet, I would say at least, where, was it 2 weeks ago, he bought himself out of his deal.
FS1 bought him out.
FS1 bought him out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was also his show, apparently,
and bought him out of his contract in general. So Undisputed, gone. And also his podcast, Club Shay Shay, will no longer appear on FS1.
Okay.
So they bought him out of his contract.
Okay, interesting. So one of the things that came out a couple weeks ago was after the NBA Finals, whenever that was, that would be his last day. So today is his last day because we crowned the Nuggets champions last night. So let's take a clip here and then we can come out and respond to it. Yeah.
That made all this possible. You've embraced me and allowed me to become your favorite TV uncle. And for that, I'm forever grateful. You rock with me when you knew very little about Shannon Sharpe, the guy that could come out here and talk. Hopefully you found me entertaining. Hopefully you found me educational. Hopefully you found all the things that I gave you that you looked for when you came and you turned in and you watched me and this man for 7 years. And last but not least, Skip Bayless. You fought for me, bro.
Did I?
I'm here because of you. You've allowed me to share the stage with you. You've allowed me to share the platform. I'm going to cry in the car, but I'm not going to cry now. The opportunity that you gave me to become what I became, I'm forever indebted to you. I'll never forget what you did for me. You've helped me grow more than you ever know.
Okay, this is not easy for me either. But
one more thing before you go, Skip. Okay. One more thing. All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, I gave you everything I had.
You did.
I gave you everything I had.
Which is why I want to thank you for...
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Wow. What's the first thing that comes to mind watching that, Ashley?
His suit jacket is really tight.
Right up in here, right? Right up in the armpit.
I'm waiting for it to rip.
He gets them tailored, man, but they look so tight.
You asked me my first thought, and the jacket,
all right, stop.
The jacket's
stop.
yellow.
We're done with you.
You asked me my first thought. That's my
You are cold-blooded. You are different.
How am I cold-blooded?
What's wrong with you?
Asked me my first thought, and that was my first thought. I could not stop looking at his jacket. It was so tight. I was waiting for it to rip. It just was insane.
Woo, come on. You're our emotional leader.
I will say, as a fan, I was an actual fan of Undisputed. I was there for Uncle Shay Shay and everything, and I think it's the right time. I think that he actually has stepped into his own. He started Shay Shay. He has a voice. And I think the way he concluded it there was actually nicer than I thought it would be, especially because it's kind of him and Skip having the problem, not him and FS1.
Allegedly.
So, yeah, allegedly, I guess. So I thought he handled it well, always professional, always dressed well. I think he's going to go straight to the top after this.
Well, it's interesting that you say straight to the top, right? Because, yeah, I mean, it's like where does he land next? Is he going to go to an ESPN? Is he going to go to another network? Amazon, who else are big players there, like spinning. But any of those, you got Spotify's of the world. But there's a huge opportunity for him and so many other people in this space to create their own and be owners of it. For so long, as athletes, as creators, as entertainers, we create and we don't own what we create, right? Like his podcast, he had to negotiate for that. He didn't own that. Like FS1 owned that, okay? I'm almost positive there. I could be off a little bit, maybe. This is some of the information I got from other people internally when I was there at FS1, right? Because like FS1, for years they've been trying to put out this network and compete in this podcast space, and it comes with the contract. Okay, well, if you do a podcast, we own it. And I just feel like guys like him, even Stephen A. Smiths of the world, think about that. Stephen A. Smith makes that show. Shannon Sharpe, he started to make that show. So now you take it, now can you do that in your own space where you have ownership? You think we'll follow? I think we will. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I look at some of the people that's in this space now, like up and coming, and we talk about it a couple times. We've talked about it a couple times, and I'll continue to salute them. But I feel like, what Cam is doing in Mace, if they can find a way to stay in that pocket and bring it together, like, man, that's scary. But like that, you know what I'm saying? There's a few people in this space that can really disrupt and do some dope stuff. Ashley, now that we're past the yellow jacket, is there?
You asked me my first thought.
I know. It's so good. But, it's going to be interesting to see, Ashley, what Shannon does. Because, like, this is like a scary time. But it's the time for us. Like, you can literally get a bag just on Instagram. Like, Fat Joe literally went live like every other day or every day. And then he started getting big deals, and more things start coming just doing Instagram, right? He didn't have to go to this MTV or BET. He did it right there in his damn living room. So I'm not sad that this is ending. I do remember, like, when I feel like he broke through is when he started to incorporate the Hennessy and the
Black and Miles.
Yeah. And that's when he became like the uncle and everybody's favorite. But there is some real stuff there. I know you said allegedly, Ashley, but I think there's some real beef between him and Skip Bayless. It's good.
Allegedly.
Why? Because you got to cover ourselves by saying allegedly?
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
So what do you think the situation is? What ended this? It was just time they did it for 6 years. It ran its course, or is it real beef?
I think I said this on this show. I don't think you were here. I think that when you have a debate show, people can get really passionate about their opinions, right? But I think that in every debate show, the foundation needs to always be respect. Because people are going to get passionate about their opinions. People are going to get passionate about the things that they say, they believe, and they're going to stand 10 toes down. But if you have a foundation of respect, it never crosses certain lines, certain barriers. And I think that with this show, there came a turning point where the debates that they were having and the energy that was being projected to each other, lost that foundation of respect. Mm-hmm. It started to hit below the belt. It started to be a little bit like, ouch, that was unnecessary. Like, that hurt. And I think that that's where it became a point of no return. And especially when you're dealing with men who have played professional sports, there's an ego there. And I think that for Shannon, being a former football player and having that ego and having that, personality about him, and Skip, having the ego, like, this is my show, I built this. Right. I mean, remember, he brought Stephen A. onto First Take. That was his show. Yeah. And then he brought Shannon Sharpe onto Undisputed when he went to FS1. So his ego is tied to something different, not the sport, but like, this is my domain.
He's the boss.
I'm your boss.
Right. Oof.
I think at one time they were able to coexist in that space because there was that respect factor there. Yeah. Somewhere along the line that was lost. And now it's so you can be grateful and thankful for the opportunity, but it doesn't change that you feel disrespected, that you can no longer exist in that working environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what happened. At least that's how it appears. I think it started with that. What was it, Tom Brady thing?
It was, Tom Brady, and he was hot. Where he was like, Skip, hot. He took off his glasses. He always wanted to take off his glasses. How you disrespect me to uplift another man.
Yeah.
Skip.
You know what that me was? I'm your friend. When he said that me, he was saying, I'm your friend. Like, how could you just degrade me
I think
like
it was
that?
the Tom Brady thing. I also think it was the Damar Hamlin thing.
There was another
And then
time.
when Shannon started the show off, and he was trying to get his monologue off, and he was trying to also give Skip the opportunity to correct, his mistake and to kind of, rectify that. Skip took that opportunity to say, the bosses don't care. They're not mad. We spoke about this. Why are you putting, it was very defensive.
Yeah.
And I think it was, those situations happened so closely back to back that I just think that it started chipping away at that respect.
I will say this too, though. And I know this is your favorite uncle.
And also, I hope you say it, I also think Fox didn't like some of the things that Shannon was doing. I don't think it's all Skip.
Some of the things like what? I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say that.
Because
I was going to say, before you go, I was going to say he put himself in this position, Ashley. Like, you can't play both sides of the fence. You can't one day be, the fraternity, the player, and then you talk about the player the way you talk about the player. Outside of LeBron, he be going crazy on some players. And I just feel like the way he approached some of these situations and topics is not what we should do. Like, I can hold you accountable.
Right.
I can debate and call you out, but from it's hard to explain. Like, when you've been in those seats before as an athlete, you know the deal. You know what we deal with. The shit that nothing get out. Like, come on, bro. You can't go out and do that. And to me, he went all the way there. He became Stephen A. Smith. He became Skip too many times. And all he want to do is protect this guy right here, the GOAT. That's it. So
I think also, outside of the Skip thing, I think that, and Brandon, you'll know, you worked for FS1. Fox is not a bar stool in the sense of, well, that's a bad example. Fox is not a FanDuel or a DraftKings. It's not it's not that open to certain things and certain behaviors. And if you dive into Fox and who owns Fox, and they've done
you're going deep
they've done
now.
things a certain way.
Because there's FS1, then there's Fox.
Yes,
okay.
but they're all under the same. They're all under the same family.
Right.
So
That's why you got to own your shit.
When you think of Fox has always kind of, just the conglomerate of Fox, they have done things a certain way. And that way doesn't allow certain flavors and behaviors to be accepted. And I think outside of his contention and the lack of respect, I feel like with Skip, which I think is factual, I think Shannon was also very, I'm Shannon Sharpe and this is me, with the Black and Miles and the Henny and get into the fight at the Lakers game and things like that. That's not what that brand is. So for those higher ups, it starts to not only you having a contention with our moneymaker, which is Skip, because he is that undisputed brand, which is their flagship show. That is their moneymaker. But you're also not representing our Fox brand the way that we like our Fox brand represented, which is why I believe they bought him out of his deal altogether. If it was just a Skip thing, they could have found another place for him.
That's real bold because, when you think about the space and the competitive landscape, you got ESPN and then there's really no competition outside of new media. And then what do? They go get the top dog in new media, Pat McAfee, that's like small little competition. But, you got FS1 sitting here trying to compete. And now you lose Shannon Sharpe, who probably was the face of not only FS1 from a daily standpoint, but that show. Mm-hmm. Like, how the hell do they survive? And I know there's talk that our guy, Shady, supposed to go in there. And I like Shady. I think this is perfect for him. Like, he likes to debate. He likes to argue. Like, it's natural to him. You know what I'm saying? But those are big shoes to fill. I don't know how this whole FS1 fucking thing continues.
I mean, you worked there. Did you feel that you had the freedom to be your authentic self, or do you feel you had to be yourself within the guidelines of what Fox represents?
There was a few reasons why I left, and I'll talk about two. One, there was people, you know, the way they talked about the athlete. Never forget Kawhi Leonard. And I shared this story before. So it's easy for us to knock down Kawhi and debate Kawhi. Oh, he's late to the plane. Or when they arrive on away games, he has his own little separate entrance or his own little locker room. He has a stretched person coming here, the privileges and all of that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so the way we were talking about it just crossed the line. You know, a lot like I was just talking about like Shannon at times. And then I'm looking at and I'm looking at the guys that's having these debates and talking about Kawhi Leonard, and I'm like, you not even on fucking time. How you gonna go out there and talk about this dude the way you did, personal attacks, and you got us holding us up every morning at 5 a.m. I ain't respect it. I got off of one of those calls. I said, yo, y'all call my agent. I ain't coming back. Right? End up coming back. It was a lot of money. I wanted to finish it out. And then the second thing, Ashley, every time we had a big situation, anything, the Deshaun Watson news break, the league, Black Lives Matter, all these things happen. They're like, all right, guys, all the talent, you got to go talk to this one guy. What are you going to say? What are you going to do? It's like, y'all ain't do this for the last 3 months. Now all of a sudden you guys want to, filter what we about to say or act like, like you just want to be aligned. So I couldn't rock with that. But that's what comes with that space, though, in those spaces. So
like I said, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the skip and him lacking the respect. But the telling thing for me is the fact that they bought him out of his FS1 contract altogether. That's not a skip thing. That's a bigger picture thing.
But could it have been that Shannon stepped up and was like, "Yeah, I just don't want to be here. We got to figure this out."
It could be also. He could just have been unhappy altogether. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if I was walking away from a show that I was part of, but I still had my own show within the network, I don't know if I would walk away from that because it's not like I have to interact with that person who I'm having contention with. But I don't know. That could be a possibility as well. Right. It could have been a mutual agreement between the two parties. That's always true.
Ashley, Nicole Moss, Brandon Marshall here, Corey in the cut. We got Woo Out West. We took a left here to talk about some things in the news. I thought that we should hit that Shannon Sharpe's last day.
I wish him the very best, though, in his new endeavors.
He'll crush it. He'll do a phenomenal job.
Honestly excited
him
to
and
see
his jacket.
him,
He'll crush it. What he's making, like $5-6 million at most at Fox, at FS1.
I don't know. That sounds like a lovely paycheck, though.
Right.
It is, but his podcast alone, he can go make that, if not double, if he does it right. He has the right people around him. He's getting some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. His numbers are insane. He just had D Wade on, and already he's probably pushing 1 million views. Mm-hmm. He's doing a great job there. So if he can figure out how to monetize that, yes. I mean, Pat McAfee walked away from FanDuel, a 3-year, $120 million deal. Gilly and Wallow, $1 million worth of game. It's reported that they had a $100 million deal with Barstool. Barstool just sold for $600 million. There's a lot of money in this space. So
did you see the D Wade episode?
I did that.
There were clips that I saw. Just pivoting real quick.
I saw the clip of him talking about the 50-50 thing.
Right. Can we dive into the 50-50 real quick? Cord, do you know what that is? Of course not.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. What's that?
I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know
okay, so Gabrielle Union did a podcast, I want to say, or she did an interview. And she was saying how the things in her household are 50-50. Mm-hmm. And Twitter went crazy. Social media went crazy. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone was like, how is your man worth this much money? And you guys are doing 50-50, whatever. So D Wade was on Club Shay Shay. And he had a conversation with Shannon Sharpe, and they were talking about this very thing. And he was basically saying, look, we both have our individual responsibilities. Mm-hmm. She pays for her family, homes, things like that. I pay for my family, homes, and things like that. Yeah. And he mentioned a story about how it was here in Miami. Him and Gabrielle Union had gotten into an argument.
Yep.
And he had said to her, "This is my house," along those lines.
Yeah.
And ever since then, Gabrielle Union, when they left Miami and they moved to, I think he said they live in Hidden Hills now in California. And they moved to Hidden Hills. When they were house hunting and things like that, she was like, "We're going half. Because you will never tell me this is my house ever again." So this is a house that now they both pay and they have, their own things. But I'm wondering, like, as men, how do you guys feel about that whole 50-50 thing? And how did you feel about that story that D-Wade told?
Yeah, listen.
About this being my house and da-da-da-da.
Well, I thought that was dope, and
You thought it was dope he said it, or that he owned up to saying
it? No, I
just
thought it was dope how Gabby responded.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, I think that I've been in situations like that before when I was younger, and that is one of the most degrading things that you can tell your significant other. This is mine, because you're the breadwinner and you have all the money, right? And I feel when we're in our youth, there's a lot we don't understand, and we don't understand how powerful our words are. And so I feel, that Gabby's response was the perfect response, because you definitely worked through it. It's not like a deal breaker. Shit happens. And so for Gabby to boss up like that and say, "You would never say that again," that was fucking fire.
Well, he said that, and this goes to Woo's point about, having a powerful woman. She said that D-Wade was saying how he likes the fact that he's with a woman who, if he wants to put $200,000 on,
that's what it is,
do a yacht vacation, she was like, "Yeah, that's not good enough. I'm gonna drop 50 more on this."
She didn't say that because I don't want to paint a
not good enough.
She said like, "No, okay, you got your 200. Yeah, let's go get the bigger boat."
Right. That's what I meant. Like, no, we can do better than this. Or with the house, like, okay, I'm putting 10 million on this, right? Okay, that's cool, but I'm gonna put another 5 million on it so we can go $15 million house. Like, he said he likes that. Yeah. That he enjoys having a woman who can elevate what he's already doing. But I find it interesting that what the turn in the relationship was him coming out the side of his face and saying, "Oh, this is my house."
Yeah. Right. Well, first, BC, when I'm drinking my water, you can keep the camera on me because we need to teach people how to hydrate. But Corey,
well, no, because I was gonna say the explanation I had heard initially was that, and you kind of touched on it, that they had their own responsibilities in their respective families and whatnot, like a mother to take care of,
like their own
maybe
things,
other siblings and whatnot.
Right.
So when I had heard that, I'm like, you know what, that actually makes sense for the house that they both live in, they go 50-50 on, because they got a lot of money that's going elsewhere in their own personal lives. So I thought that made sense, but then of course, you had that story that D-Wade shared.
Financially, obviously, D-Wade could do it on his own.
Yeah, he could.
But I love that. Like, personally, whenever I get married or move in with someone, we're going, this house belongs to both of us. Like, both our names are on this deed. We're going 50-50. We may not split the bills 50-50. I take the light bill. Like, when it comes
50-50,
what I'm saying, when it comes, I mean, like, because sometimes it's 60.
So y'all go buy a $5 million home. You gonna put up your 2.5 just so you can say we.
What I'm saying is, What I'm saying is the bills don't always go 50-50. Like, some may, take landscaping and electric and water, and that may equate more to then I don't know, the security. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the house itself, and what is in those four walls. No, that belongs to the both of us, because we're not gonna do that. Don't think so. What'd you say, Woo?
No, I'm just gonna say, like, I'm glad you reemphasized my point from last week, because that's exactly what I was getting at, is those moments when, like, for instance, you don't want to build resentment in your relationship because 5 years into it, you're like, man, you don't do nothing around here. All you do is just sit around the house, right? Because you're building resentment because this person isn't contributing. But if, let's say, you working with someone and they're on their way up, and then you arrive there earlier, when they arrive, it's double the benefit, because you pushing up your queen and she's pushing up her king, and y'all are growing together and making basically like a superhuman almost.
Look at Dr. Phil in the cut.
I'm telling you,
we gonna change your name to Dr. Phil in the cut. We got Corey in the cut. We got Dr. Phil in the cut.
I love that. Right. The famous actress Gabrielle Union has a net worth of $45 million.
That's a lot of money, honey.
Yeah. I think it's less about her net worth and more about her cash flow, right? And that's where, she's able to contribute, right? Because if she does two movies this year, and those two movies do great, she makes more money. But there could be a year where she may not do a movie or.
And I think that's an important fact too. Is It doesn't have to be. Sometimes it's not equal. Like in this case, we're talking about two millionaires, right? Obviously, different type of millionaires, but we're talking two millionaires. But that doesn't mean that if you're with a guy who's working a 9 to 5 and you're working a 9 to 5, that you can't do the same thing within your,
right?
Your bracket.
Well, here's where I was going with that. Is like, look, for me, I'm okay with. My thing is this: whatever you are, whatever you want to be confident in it and do it. Society says for so many years and centuries, women stay at home, take care of the family, raise the kids, follow after your husband. I don't believe that. I feel like that's one of the reasons. Like you see those movies where, the kids are out of the house, they're empty nesters, and the lady's 50 years old, and they're like, I gave up everything for you. So that always stuck with me. I never wanted to be in that situation. So it's like, yo, if you want to be a career woman, if you want to go build something, go do that. I support that. We can fill in here. But you're a whole person outside of this thing. Go do that, right? And so I'm okay with a woman saying, you know what, I actually enjoy raising, or leading this family.
No, contribution is not always about money. I agree with you.
Right. And so I'm okay with doing that, but man, it is pretty cool having a lady that can contribute, right? That is dope, right? Like what Gabby said. Hey, that $200,000 trip that you want to take, here, I'm gonna throw in 50. I'm gonna throw in 60. Now that gives us more days on the boat. That gives us, a little helicopter ride here. It's going to enhance our experience.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, if you have a woman who is like, listen, I just want to be home raising our kids and growing in our home and making sure that's good, and that's her contribution in your relationship, and that's what she wants. Not what was pushed upon her, but what she wants. And then on the other side of that, because when you think about it, a woman who is actively working and has that net worth, it's because she works.
Right.
And it's because she's not always home. It's because she's not, cooking dinners and having on the table by like 7 o'clock. And she's not, as hands-on with the kids as maybe a stay-at-home mom can be because she has other things going on. So maybe there is help. There are nannies. There are babysitters, things like that. There are some men who that's not okay.
That's facts.
So I wonder, I'm asking that to say, if you have a woman who's like, my contribution is going to be financial, and that's kind of how I want to do it, are you okay with her then not being able to do the more traditional things because her focus is on the monetary?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just want...
Some men aren't. That's why I asked.
Yeah, you're right.
They want everything, and that's impossible.
I'm a macro guy. Macro, micro, small, macro, big. Okay. So I'm always 5, 10, 15 years out. That's where my brain is always at. And so that's what I'm looking at. How do we get there and be good? What I don't want to have happen in a relationship is 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, we get there and it's like, holy shit, I gave up everything. No, I know what I'm chasing. I know what I'm building. Like, I really enjoy coming and seeing 225 people watching now on Paper Route, and then having the opportunity to do the Angel Reese episode where we go over here and do it. Like, I'm chasing something, and that's fulfilling to me. And I feel like that feeling that it gives me, like, you have to experience that in your own life, whatever that is. For some men and women, it can be staying at home and caring for the family and taking care of the family, leading the family. But I feel like that's a small population.
I actually have something I want to contribute to this, and it's a personal story. I had a moment in life when I wasn't doing as well financially, and I was held down. And the only thing I could contribute was basic necessities that we attribute to women: cleaning, cooking, just making sure the place was tidy. I actually came up with the idea because I felt bad that I couldn't contribute any other way. So by doing that, I felt like once I get on my feet, I will contribute, but this is the only way I can contribute right now. And I worked my way back towards that 50-50 relationship. But it was also a conversation of, okay, I can't do all these things now while also being here. So I think communication for me is always going to be the biggest thing. But overall, I think you have to work with your partner and understand your position. And my position at that time was to contribute to the house.
First, I want to say I want to validate how you feel and what you just said. That was very beautiful. But then, Ashley, is it contribute or contribute, or is it both?
Hey,
that
I never claimed to be a wizard at words.
It was so beautiful. But
oh, you kept thinking it was contribute.
Definitely contribute.
That's funny. You contribute.
I wasn't gonna like cut him off because he was like really sharing, but in my head I was like, "That's not the word, Woo."
Yeah,
that's
hey
not
man,
the word.
I ain't never claimed.
I was like, "That's beautiful."
That's
I was like,
not the word, Woo.
Yeah.
You know, because
contribute.
He is so deep. Like I said, you're our emotional leader. That I'm like, oh shit, he knows something I don't know.
It felt like interrupting the pastor.
Yeah,
like during like a sermon, but I'm like, that's not the word.
But he was saying it so confidently that it made me question myself. Like, damn,
am I pronouncing it wrong?
It's you can use it this way.
No, it's contribute. Contribute is not. It's contribute.
Hey, no, man, but I tried, man.
You were gonna have Brandon start using that word all wrong, and then I would have to correct it.
Can we'll write that down? Because I be chopping up words too.
Oh yeah.
I feel like every quarter or something, every 3 months for everybody out there. This is little business terms, you know, for all my business people, things that I'm learning along the way. You know, every quarter I feel like we need to drop something where like all the botched words contribute. Ashley, you tore up colluding.
No, I misunderstood the way you were using Ashley, it, but I never messed the word, the pronunciation of the word.
Okay.
Yeah, I just messed up the way you were using it. Okay. That I'll own up to.
Hey, we love you guys. I think we're at time. Woo, because you.
Y'all got BT in my ear messing with me.
Well, if you want to contribute to the end of this show, go ahead. You end the show, Woo.
Never did this before. I just want to say we love all you guys. It's Woo in the West, Corey in the cut. Yes, we got Brandon Marshall, Ashley Nicole Moss, BC in the booth, and Mysterious Man the Legend.
Wow. Is that it?
Oh, that's it. That's it. I thought we were gonna cut to an outro or something, but yeah. Peace, y'all.
There we go.
See y'all tomorrow.